So today I'm going to watch a Korean fairy tale. And we'll describe about what that looks like, as well as, hey, what are some of the things that's interesting. Um, so this one is about the woodcutter and the fairy. You can see that if this happens in real life, what would you do? In fact, if that happens to me, if I was that guy, what would I do? So let's watch it together, and now we can better understand the progress of this story. So let's get started.
The Fairy and the Woodcutter. Shall we start? Once upon a time, there was a kind-hearted woodcutter who lived with his mother. One day, the woodcutter secretly hid the deer being chased.
First of all, why would he do that? If I were me, I might just kill the deer and eat deer meat. But anyways,
By the hunter.
Have you seen a deer?
Try that way.
I don't know that deer can talk. Or maybe he's some superhuman being. That'd be nice. Imagine having the superpower to talk to animals. I wish that is something I have. And I can actually make my animals or my pets really, really, have a good conversation.
Oh, thank you, sir. Let me give you good information to repay you. That night, the woodcutter went to the mountaintop pond that the deer told him.
Hello? Is anyone there?
The woodcutter met a
So the deer told him to peep on women. Okay, that's a very interesting. That deer is very, I guess, very smart.
fairy who couldn't go back to heaven because she lost her winged gown. The woodcutter and the fairy
Wow, that's so lucky. He just stumbled upon here and she just magically lost her wing gown. That's interesting.
got married and had 2 children. They were happy.
Oh, look how happy
they are.
How sweet. It's like they're
Very
meant to
sweet.
be.
Oh, what a perfect couple.
Yummy snacks are for thee. Leave all the chores to me.
They are meant to be. What a happy couple.
Okay, I'm already kind of pissed. It's like, hey, this is like such a lucky guy, right? He just show up, save a deer. I guess maybe he didn't want to eat the deer. That gave him that good luck. But he can talk to animals. It's like, dude, what the? That's like so messed up. And then now they suddenly met a pretty girl from heaven with 2 kids. Like, dude, which guy wouldn't want that? Man, I'm so jealous of this guy right now.
You're beautiful inside and out. You're the best, there's no doubt.
That's what we're talking about. What a happy couple.
You are my one and only. I'll never make you lonely.
They are made to be. What a happy couple. Hurrah, hurrah, oh yeah. The fairy and the woodcutter, they are perfect together. There won't be any trouble. What a happy
Then one day, the deer gave something to the woodcutter, and it was the one and only.
Winged gown? She would be so happy.
No, sir. You can't give this back to her until you have 3 children.
But
The deer said
So the deer probably stole that gown on purpose to repay him. I mean, come on, which fairy would forget the gown that was taken back home? If I was driving a car, I'm not gonna forget my car keys. Please, I'll keep it in a place I know I can find them. So the deer already made plans to steal that stuff from him. So man, deers are pretty smart, I gotta say.
not to give the winged gown to the fairy, but the woodcutter felt sorry for her, so he gave it to her. The fairy smiled as brightly as the full moon, and the woodcutter was relieved. However, That night, the fairy went up to heaven in her winged gown, holding her 2 children.
So you see, because of that winged gown, she now was able to take both her kids away from him. Man, what a retard. I mean, we trusted the deer in the beginning. He should have remained faith. So that tells you one thing. Like in the dating world too, when a girls are crying over things, as a guy, we have to be logical, right? Otherwise, we end up becoming a victim of her emotions. And then she just does whatever she wants. And then we are screwed. Like child support.
In her arms.
Oh dear! Please don't leave me! Please!
The fairy and the children disappeared. There was only the big full moon shining in the sky.
Dude, if that happened, I don't know. I would just.
I told you not to give the winged gown back to
That's right, what a dumbass.
her. When the full moon rises again, go to the pond on top of the mountain. He went to the pond where he met the fairy for the
At least this time, he actually listened, which is good. Unlike last time.
first time. A bucket came down from the sky. The bucket carrying the woodcutter went up to the sky and stopped when it reached the clouds. The fairy and the children recognized the woodcutter from afar.
Wow, so if that's the way to go to heaven, man, I gotta find that mountain and do a tour of that place to see if I even want to go to heaven.
And they ran. Dad! Oh, darling!
Oh darling! My children!
Dude, I don't even know why he's so happy. Dude, she left him without saying a word, and then now she's like, "Oh, everything's fine." Dude, that's kind of effed up. I mean, if a woman ran away with your children, and then suddenly you see your children, you're sure be happy, but the wife, dude, like that's like really messed up. Yeah, that person would never, ever, ever be in my life again.
The woodcutter was happy in heaven with his wife and children, but he was always worried about his mother being alone.
Darling, take this horse and visit your mother. But you must never get off the horse, okay?
You can see in this fairy tale that filial piety is very strong in the Korean culture or Asian culture in general. So you see that even though you're with the wife, you're still thinking a lot about your parents. Sometimes there's a time where in Asian culture, Korean culture, that you choose your parents over your significant other, which is very different from some of the religions or the Western practices where I'm independent. My kids are the most important thing in my life. My wife too. So you can see that here the blood relation sometimes takes over with your new family. So there's pros and cons. In one of the dramas I saw, such as like My Mister, the reason the wife didn't feel love was the husband always prioritized the family, his brothers and his mother over his wife. Right. So you can see that sometimes it's not always black and white, and we need to be more mindful of those things.
The horse arrived at the woodcutter's mother's house in a flash.
Mother!
My, oh my, where have you been, my dear son? Oh, my son!
Mother, you became so skinny.
I'm so sorry.
Where have you been all this time?
Mother, I should go back soon. I can't get off the horse.
What do you mean?
Please forgive your bad son.
At least have some soup before you leave. I made it for you.
Yes, Mother.
The woodcutter held a bowl of soup while riding the horse. But at that moment, he spilled the hot soup on the horse's back. The horse jumped up and down, dropped the woodcutter, and flew away.
Oh no!
So if you look at this fairy tale, the way I can see is he got messed up, left over by two women. First by his wife, then by his mother. Man, this guy has really bad luck.
The woodcutter couldn't return to heaven. He looked at the sky every day and shed tears.
No shit. I mean, I would be like upset and be like, man, like, yeah, see, like, yeah, it's just so that also shows that in order to please others at your own expense, you have to be prepared for the consequences. Sometimes you just gotta be a little bit selfish, in order to not do that kind of stuff. From my perspective.
My dear daughter, my dear son, I miss my little ones. Every day I miss them more than anyone. If we meet someday, if that day comes, I will happily sing and hum. I think of my family every night and day. When will we meet again? Every day I pray. If we meet someday, if that day comes, I will happily.
So before even going further, that reminds me like, hey, when something's over, it's over. We can, you know, think about it all we want, but when it's over, it's over. Kind of sucks.
Sing and hum.
Oh, my dear, I'll get there. I promise I will do. I'll do. Cock-a-doodle-doo.
The woodcutter died lonely after suffering so much, and he was reborn as a rooster.
Cock-a-doodle.
Dude, that sucks. Imagine like you got messed over and then the heaven punishes you, that makes you reincarnate as a rooster. So in Asian cultures, they believe in, I guess, probably from the Buddha's teachings of reincarnation. So based on your deeds and your efforts, your karma, you're reborn into a certain type of animals, whether it's human beings, insects, whatever it is. The fact that he reborn into a rooster means like, man, like heaven does not look favorably on him. So that shows that, hey, don't be a retard. When you get messed over once, don't get messed over twice. And yeah, so it also tells you that when something's lost, there's no point trying to hold on to something. And just even if you feel sad, gotta move forward. Imagine you have two rocks, right? You have two hands. If you're sad, you're handicapped. So one of your arms is messed up, but your other arm is still working. So what that means is even though you're sad and upset, the other arm should still push you further ahead. No point let one thing F you up.
The promise the woodcutter made towards the sky, saying, "I promise I will do, I'll do," was turned into cock-a-doodle-doo. This is why a rooster cries to the sky. How sad is it?
So this is one interesting tale. So if I was the guy, man, I probably would not. This would not even happen. I might just eat the deer, unless I'm not that hungry, or if I can talk to the animals, then I'll probably be more empathetic. But when it comes to my wife leaving the chores out and telling me, that's a very irresponsible woman. So from that perspective, she's like gone. There's no way I'm taking her back, even if it means being alone. Because in the end, look at that guy. He's alone already. Knowing me, I'll probably just find a different girl or have a bunch of girlfriends. No, actually, to be honest, I will not marry again. I would have a bunch of girlfriends, live out the rest of my life. Cool. Man, this is a very sad story for a guy. I hope that never happens to me. Oh, well, so this is one of the fairy tales. I don't know what the lesson is, but for myself, I don't think that would ever happen to me. Since up to the point that she leaves, that might happen. But after she leaves, I probably would not be happily ever after in heaven with her. Not possible. All right. That's it for this episode, Navigating the Rights. I hope you got more insight, both in terms of one, the fairy tales, the culture, as well as my personality, what I would do. So I hope it was enjoyable for you.